Welcome back, Sega fans, to the podcast that survived Y2K. It's the Sega guys cruising in at the turn of the millennium. I, Dan the Mega Driver, am joined once again by my friend and co-host, the MSR to my Sonic Adventure 2. It's James the SEGAHolic. Mate, how you doing?
I'm very good, mate. Survived the Y2K bug. Remember the Millennium bug? Remember that? Well, I thought our computers were going to just die. People frantically sitting watching the clock.
Are you Y2K compliant?
Remember that? Oh, man.
Get your...
It's a yellow sticker, wasn't it?
I
A
was
wee
going
bug.
to say
Remember that?
yes, yeah, of course. They stick it on there once they sorted them.
How many tech engineers in business made a living out of being Y2K compliant engineers or something? I mean, it's just...
Oh, people must have made an absolute fortune out of it.
Oh,
Absolute
mate.
fortune.
Good times, good times. Hinting at where we're going with this one.
Yeah, absolutely. But what you been up to, mate? You been playing much?
Just Daytona, CE and CCE for this video, which by the time this comes out, it might well have released. I'm hoping it. At least it'll be uploaded to the channel. But aye, CE and CCE and a bit of original Daytona as well. Starting to get a kind of newfound appreciation for CE. Actually, it's like it's a very good racing game in its own right. It plays better with the wheel than it does with the controller. Still not OG Daytona kind of standards, but whenever you see them running side by side, you actually do really appreciate the job that Sega CS did getting the frame rate up. It does move at a fair pelt, so a wee bit of a newfound appreciation 30 years later after. The disappointment still hurts, mate. We were told we were getting a proper version of Daytona and we got something different, but aye, that's what I've been working on, just kind of playing that whenever I can, get some footage for that. Kind of backlog of physical games that have came through from Japan that I want to try and have a shot of. Other ones that are on the way soon. So I have plenty going on game wise, mate. Not much time to play anything, but as I say, what I have played, I've enjoyed anyway. My oldest daughter, she played Daytona CE with the wheel and had great fun with it as well. She really enjoyed it, so give her great joy smacking the car into the wall and sending it flying in the air. So all good, mate. All good. What about yourself?
Yeah, so finished Unicorn Overlord this weekend, which I've been playing for about a year. That was 84 hours of gameplay.
Jesus.
Loved it. Took a load of clips of my Switch, so might get a review going up soon. But aside from that, mate, mostly just tracking on with Yakuza Pirates, a few other Sega games, but I keep getting distracted by Forza Horizon 6, which launched on Game Pass. It's astounding. It's the best one so far, I think. I've got a real soft spot for 1 and 2, but this one, I think the Mexico one, which was 5, was a bit like, yeah, this is great, but I didn't quite love it. But this one, it's just like, it's so good. It really is good. And they've made a bunch of changes, like the fast travel and stuff. You had to, in the previous ones, you had to find the fast travel boards and run them over, and then you could pay a fee to try. Now you can fast travel everywhere, which I haven't done yet. I've not taken the piss with it, but I think it's as you get kind of further down the line, the map's so big, it just makes it a lot easier. There's a lot of people that don't like the open world stuff on the Forza Horizon games. And I think with this now, you can just basically play it any way you want. You don't like the open world stuff, fine. Just click where you want to go to that event and play it like an arcade game. At the beginning, they're like, do you want a Lancer Mitsubishi 7, Evo 7? Do you want a Toyota GT 86? Or do you want a Toyota Celica GT4? I was like, well, of course, on the Celica. Go into the decals, and of course the the 94 Rally one is there. Put Sega Rally on my license plate and I'm away. It's a brilliant game, mate. So
See, I was that out of touch, mate. It was whenever it just flagged up, like that it was out, and I was like, "Oh, Christ, that's out now!" And then, I started looking at kind of Series S gameplay videos, and as before, there's the performance mode and the kind of the graphics mode. 30 FPS looks. The fidelity in the image looks absolutely incredible, but even the performance mode at 60, I think people again in the YouTube comments going, it's internal 840p, but you know yourself, like the Series X does all this kind of up internal upscaling and gubbins. It doesn't look 840p on
Yeah.
your gaming monitor. It looks astounding. I seen one of the opening events. You're racing a Gundam.
Yeah, I've not
I
got
was
that
like,
far yet. Yeah.
yeah, okay. It's like a Gundam. Fine, fair enough. But no, I'm the same as you, mate. Like number two is my favourite, and I think it's because of that setting. Like we used to go like to the Amalfi Coast like kind of annually, the
Mm.
life before kids, and that was our holiday destination. So all the little kind of like touches, like the kind of the wee narrow pavements on one side of the road with the tiny little kind of greenish kind of turquoise like kind of fences and a big drop, and you've got the kind of bay. It's kind of meant to be like kind of Bay of Naples kind of thing, and you know, your islands in the distance, like Positano and Amalfi and sorry, Capri and stuff like that. It kind of gives off those vibes of that whole region really, really well. So that's why it kind of resonates with me. I love number two. Right, four was okay. I think the fact it felt a bit kind of close to home, obviously being in the
Yeah.
UK. Five, I never kind of got on. It was a good game, but the setting just never kind of clicked. I think we all shouted for Japan, like
Yeah.
for the last like two versions. Give it Japan, Mexico, fuck's sake. It's like so. I mean, it'll be worthwhile getting a wee monthly Game Pass membership, but I'll need to wait to know when I'm going to have like time to actually sit down and just
Yeah.
play it. There's no point paying for a Game
No,
Pass
no,
sub
no.
and then no using it, but I will get to it. I do want to play it, so aye, all good, mate.
Yeah, definitely recommend it. The Japan players, it's been interesting. You see a lot of Japan players coming on X. You hit the translate button and see what they're saying. They actually love it, and they're saying how someone was saying it's like just driving around my old neighborhood. So it's hit. You get the usual people that are trying to play it down and stuff. But I think it's an absolutely phenomenal game. But yeah, talking about Microsoft, Xbox leads us neatly into this topic, mate. And
Rewind,
yeah,
rewind.
rewind. And our one of our most popular podcasts happened to be the Why
Mm.
Gaming in the 90s was awesome. I think
Mm.
we'll probably still maintain that that's the best decade, right?
Aye, yeah.
But but the 2000s is a special place in our hearts. It's almost like a second childhood, wasn't it? Apart from in this childhood, you're working, which means you have your own money. You're not necessarily owning your own place or having a family, which I don't think neither of us did at that time.
No.
But money went to, a couple of hundred quid to mum for the keep, and the rest is all us, right?
180 quid a month, big money's what I paid, mate. The rest of my pay packet was mine. You know what I mean? It was just it's phenomenal. What it was like you're like a kid in a candy shop, you know, because you got to remember like you're coming off of like your kind of teens, right? Where even like whenever you were like 17, 18, you would still like kind of ask your parents for like, oh, can I get this for my birthday? Can I get that for my birthday? But now, did they wait to birthdays, mate? You could go and buy what you wanted. And there was so much stuff happening, man. The pace, the new generations were coming out, new consoles coming out, new games, new controllers, new formats, just so much going on, and like we soaked it up like a sponge, mate.
Absolutely, but it's a pretty crazy decade, really.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back at it, and there's a lot on here that we can touch on. I mean, I was still 16 at the turn of the millennium. I doing my A levels, and I've been 17 in the year 2000, and obviously year 2000 would have been the kind of the penultimate year of the Sega Dreamcast,
Mm-hmm.
and arguably perhaps its strongest year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the time, me being still a student, doing a part-time job. At the time, I was working in like a call center, so I was getting a little bit more than I was getting at the Perry's warehouse. Um, and I was buying a few games, but there was the point I always make about the Dreamcast in 2000 was that there was just so many games. It was
Mm-hmm.
hard to stay on top of it because you had your Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio. Because Crazy Taxi was 2000, wasn't it? I think it was the arcade in
Mm-hmm.
'99, Dreamcast in
Yep.
2000. Yeah, you basically had so much coming through the pipe then. Like things like Skies of Arcadia, as daft as it sounds, just kind of flew under my radar. Um, because there was just so much, that library was so stacked you couldn't possibly buy everything. And then obviously at the end of 2000 you had the Western release of Shenmue. So an insane year for the Dreamcast final year, well, penultimate year. Obviously it would be discontinued the last year. But how many did you get to play? Or what was your view on 2000, mate, for the Dreamcast?
The Dreamcast wise again, it was all I was kind of imports. So like, I mean, my main game that I played in Dreamcast when I imported was still Crazy Taxi. That was the one that I played the most. But like a lot of the kind of the RPG stuff like that. Like, I mean, me and Sam, we did try and fumble our way through Shenmue, the Japanese version. Um, I think him and his cousin Ronnie eventually managed to fumble their way through at least the first two discs, but I kind of gave up and waited for the American version to come out, and I used the was it DC UK's disc because that worked
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
Japanese console as well. So it let you play like you obviously US and PAL games on a Japanese console, which was good. But I think as well, like I was kind of like while I was still playing my Sega stuff, and like I was still then going back and like kind of retrospectively importing Saturn stuff at that point as well. Like that was I'd got the kind of import bug for the Dreamcast. So all of a sudden, it was like I was on eBay and I'm looking up like X-Men versus Street Fighter and
Mhm.
Ready Into Sharuba gun. There you go, it's one for Tom. There's one for Tom. Um, Radiant Silver gun on there as well. And obviously, your other kind of versus Capcom games and just kind of having an eye-opening experience playing with Saturn games in 60 hertz as well. Obviously the PAL first party stuff on Saturn was all optimized, so there's no real kind of difference there. But third party stuff you were playing, like stuff like X-Men Children of the Atom, like playing that like 60 hertz was like, oh, hold on a minute. This
Yeah.
isn't quite as slow as I remember it. So like Daytona as well, OG Daytona, getting that it still isn't full screen. The Japanese version, it's still
Yeah.
slightly letterboxed, but it's not the way it is like over here. It's like the old VHS widescreen as it was meant to be seen. It's like ultra widescreen on the PAL version. So um, like, I think because also you're saying you were like 16, 17 at that time. Like I was 21 at the turn of the millennium, so it's like make me feel my age now, mate. It's like you were still a teenager. I was in my
It wasn't.
twenties
It
at this
wasn't.
point.
Wasn't intentional.
It's like cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. But at that point, like kind of 2000s, I was at uni, so like again, you get your kind of student loan and stuff like that. I was working part time in Safeway in Annie's Land in Glasgow, and if anybody remembers, it's now a Morrison's, but I was again great time, kind of working in it nights and weekends, just a bunch of student guys all the same onto the same stuff into like, metal and gaming and wrestling and all that. So it was just brilliant. My went for your shift, it was just a riot, mate. Honestly, it was just a great laugh. Obviously, you're kind of heading towards like you're getting the hype coming through for the PS2.
Hmm.
Pre-orders start opening up for kind of PS2 and stuff like that as well. So, aye, mate, it's all happening. I think I remember about the turn of the millennium as well. Is my mum putting on Robbie Williams Millennium as the bells went. That's like, well, that's the most cliched song.
Millennia.
We got stars directed our way. Oh God Almighty! Between that and Angels, mate, he's got New Year and funerals covered. He's doing well, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. It was on. It was on all the time at the end of the
Rock
90s.
DJ.
On the yeah. But yeah. I remember the PS2 hype. And I remember people. I think a friend picked up a PS2. My friend Charlie or his brother did picked up a PS2, but I was staunchly in that Dreamcast camp. I was there to the very end, because I got the power version of Shenmue, and I got that playing on my Japanese Dreamcast via a DCX disc that I got in Game Station, and yeah, that was how I played Shenmue. And then obviously the news came out 3 months after that Christmas, which is crazy when you think about it. Didn't Shenmue didn't really get that much of a chance to kind of make a splash in the West when you really consider it. It was over
Mhm.
3 or 4 months before they threw in the towel. Um, but yeah, it was like 2001. It was all about Sonic Adventure 2, Fantasy Star Online, and a couple of others. But I was mostly playing like the Capcom versus SNK games. Um, and then I got my PS2 at the tail end of 2001, just kind of when the Dreamcast releases really dried up.
Mm.
and me and my brother went halves for a PS2 and one game, and that one game was Crazy Taxi on the PS2.
Well, that was an experience.
Yeah, it was one of those where I was like, okay, and I had actually played a PS2 beforehand, and I mostly played Grand Theft Auto 3, so I was all in on the hype on that. I was like, this because someone was saying it's like the original Grand Theft Auto game, but like fully 3D, and I was like, I bet it plays like arse. Like, there's no way that they could translate that. And I was just like Gobsmacked. I was like, okay, right, well, this obviously is the real deal here. And with the Dreamcast on its way, I need to get one. Um, so yeah, we got one, but we didn't get GTA 3. We got Crazy Taxi, and I plugged it in, hooked it all up, and playing Crazy Taxi as I had been doing for over a year since. And I was just like, like Anakin Skywalker when I was looking at that TV. And obviously the the acclaim published PS2 version doesn't have a 60 hertz mode on it,
Yeah.
so it's slower. It's and it plays like arse, and it was just so bad. And I was just like, oh, what have I done?
Oh, I mean, I remember I pre-ordered my PS2. It was in there was Gameplay had stores. Also, they were predominantly like in a mail order or online. But they had a few brick and mortar stores across the UK, like Leeds, Manchester, like Birmingham, and also Glasgow had one. And where it was in Argyle Street now, it's this like Glasgow City Centre's a shithole now. Like it's full of tacky gift shops, vape shops that set fire to historic buildings and destroy them. You know what I mean? But it was Pizza Hut in the corner, a big Woolworths next to it, and then beside that was Gameplay. And I went in there and I put down 20 quid. And that's all you had to put down was £20 posters up in the wall, £20 pre-order your PS2. So I pre-ordered it. And then it wasn't guaranteed for launch, but it was like kind of like launch window. Cool. So I got mine like a week and a half after launch. But like you put down your 20 quid, and then like Sony sent you this letter out on PS2 headed paper saying, like, dear James, thank you for pre-ordering your PlayStation 2 console at Gameplay Glasgow. And it said, rest assured, a PS2 console has been secured for you. They make you feel really special at this point. Like they've picked one out off the production line for you. It said the next time we'll be in touch will be like whenever you're ready to go and collect your console. We'll give you a date and a time to go and collect it, pay your balance, and choose your games. Blah blah blah. And then I think the one that came through before you went to pick it up had like a demo disc with it, and then you went in. But I remember I went with my sister, so got the express bus for Scotstoun into the city centre, got off, went to Gameplay, went in there, and I picked my bundle. It was an extra controller, a memory card, Tekken Tag, Ridge Racer 5, and FIFA 2001. Handed over the rest of my cash, well, paid it with my card. And as I was walking out, I got offered £1,000. Guy stopped me. He's like, "I'll give you £1,000 for that right now." Right? But I was like, "No," I says, "I'm going home with this." Right? So goes on. I was shitting myself. I'm thinking I'm going to get jumped for this. Right? It's Glasgow City Centre. Right? You're at the Four Corners. Right? The Four Corners on the Tories. But there's a bus stop right outside the McDonald's on that corner, which is where you get the express bus back to Scotstoun. Right? And you knew once you had made it past, well, there was 3 stops before it hit the expressway, and it was right through to the house. So you got off at the end of my street. So, mate, I was harrowing. I'm sitting there like my sister's what 6 years younger than me. So at this point, I'm like, this is 2000, so I'm 21. At this point, like she's only like 15. Like, yes. So she kept me company going to pick it up, and got home. I was obviously phoned the boys and says, look, Mark and Eddie and Sam and Graham was like, PS2, see if you want to come and see it. They all came up, and I just remember like I loaded up the demo disc it came with, and it had this kind of really kind of arty farty kind of like classical music led kind of like intro with the console. Kind of, it's like and like crescendos, and the console's spinning towards you on its stand and stuff like that. Talking of the stand, that's a funny story. I bought both stands 2 weeks before my from Gameplay, right? I bought the horizontal and the vertical stand, right? Because I knew I wanted to stand it up, but I thought, fuck it, the other one's there as well, just get the two of them. And I actually, mate, I had a space on my shelf beside my Japanese Dreamcast earmarked. The stand just sat there waiting for the console. So I remember getting that demo disc and loading that up, watching that weekend intro, and there was, I mean, if I remember, there's a clip from Wipeout. It's like a pre-rendered kind of, because he go, boom, he goes down like that, down a kind of ramp. But I think it's a bit of kind of tech and tag and stuff. I think maybe some
Mm.
bouncer footage in it as well. But then first game I load up, Ridge Racer 5, and again, I loads it up and I'm like, this is, where's the Toy Story 2 graphics, mate? Like, what's happening? Um, Oh, slightly funnier story. Right, hold on a minute. I'm getting back. We're getting back a bit, right? Whenever the PS2 launched in Japan, right? And it was a couple of weeks before it was launching. And I remember where Charlie used to be in Byers Road. If you went across Byers Road and then went across like kind of Great West Road, the big main road, and then up there was Queen Margaret Drive, which is where the BBC Scotland headquarters were, right? So like, all your kind of journalists, your cameramen, and all your kind of guys that work for BBC, they were all based in there. And I remember me and Sam were in, and I just turned around to Charlie in the off chance and went, Charlie, now bear in mind, I'd already imported my Dreamcast by this point, right?
Mm.
And I turned around and I says to Charlie, I went, Charlie, what do you think you're going to sell a PS2 for when it comes out in Japan? This fucking gormless looking sod turns around and goes, if you're asking, you obviously can't afford one. Sam will back me up that story when he listens to this. We just looked at him and laughed at me. I imported a Dreamcast for you. Like, honestly, yeah, pretentious dick. And that's what Charlie said. He's a cameraman for the BBC. So,
Mm.
idiot. But aye, mate. So the whole PS2 thing, aye, there was a lot of hype. Obviously, we all know that the FUD that Peter Moore's talked about. You know, the
Yeah.
Toy Story graphics in real time, Pod Racer graphics in real time, and they load up Ridge Racer 5, and it's, don't get me wrong, it's razor sharp, laden with jaggies. It moves at 60 FPS, but it's dull, and I don't mean dull in gameplay. It was a decent enough racing game to play, but in terms of visuals, it was very grey. Like even the colours were so muted, like the reds were just so dull. Any colours of the cars were just dull. Put Tech and Tag on. I know the Western version had anti-aliasing, which the Japanese version didn't, so that looked all right. But again, there's no Soul Calibur, so
Mm.
you're sitting there. And then FIFA 2001, me and my mate Graham used to play Rangers v Celtic quite often. And I remember I was beating them 2-1, first game we played, and they scored an equaliser in the last minute with Henrik Larsson an overhead kick. And it was too easy to score overhead kicks in FIFA 2001. But of course, he's doing laps around my room, sticking his tongue out during the Larsson celebration because he scored an overhead kick. So just all these wee daft memories that are attached to these consoles, mate. But so I mean, PS2, got it roundabout just shortly after launch, but initial impressions were very underwhelming. Just because of the hype, you'd and having had Dreamcast for so long by this point, you're sitting looking, going, "This is the great PS2. Like this is what the hype was, really." Gran Turismo 3 would eventually show. I think that was a game that made me go, "Oh, right, okay, this is what it can do."
Yeah.
But until that point, you were sitting there going, "Really?"
I know, it was a bit like, is this it? Yeah, because I think after I got mine in 2001, and this was like the tail end of the 2001, like the Dreamcast has really kind of breathed its last breath over here. Um, I got Grand Theft Auto 3, obviously, like pretty much everyone who owned a PS3, a PS2 had GTA 3. And then I got GT3, Gran Turismo 3, which was, I thought was a stunning looking game for the time. Absolutely beautiful looking game. Loads of fun as well. Probably the most fun GT, I think, out of the series.
I'd agree with that.
Then, because we did the whole podcast on Sega on PS2. But those early days on PS2, there really weren't that much Sega. I don't know. We'll probably get onto the other consoles in a bit, but there just wasn't an awful lot. I had Crazy Taxi, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not touching that again. And then mostly on PS2, it was like just ports of Dreamcast games, like bad ports for the most part. So I didn't really pick any up. So for me, it was all Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo 3, then Zone of the Enders, because that had the Metal Gear Solid 2 tank
solid
disc.
demo disc. Yep.
Yes, and then it was like Zone of the Enders. I thought was absolutely phenomenal, so I loved that. And yeah, I think and then Pro Evolution Soccer. So my brother and I got that, the original one, because it had got rave reviews everywhere. My mates and I had all loved the ISS Pro Evolution games on the PS1, which obviously this was a sequel to. And
ISS
yeah, it was,
98, mate. What a game. Paul Ince and Ravanelli on the cover.
yeah, yes.
What a game that was. That, oh, phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. The Pro Evolution, the Pro Evolution. I've got the ISS Pro games on the shelf there for PS1 as well that came after, and they're so good. They're so good. Apart from for some reason, like Nick Anelka on there is like 99 rating on everything. You can just you get the ball to him and you're guaranteed to score. But that aside, they're two absolute phenomenal football games. But yeah, the PS2 Pro Evo, obviously the original was mind blowing for the time because I remember I wasn't blown away by Worldwide Soccer and a Dreamcast, and I wasn't too impressed by playing FIFA on any console at that point. Um, and then playing that was just like was like a revelation at the time. Of course, 4, 5, 6 iterations later, we're still playing it. Just watching the in-betweeners, and they were playing. There was bits of there going, "Oh, do you want a game of Pro Evo?" Like, yeah, I think if any Brits are watching this, they probably know what we're talking about. But I think
Oh,
if there's any of our American friends watching this, probably don't know how ingrained Pro Evo was in the British psyche. It
mate.
was just like it was
Mate, a
ubiquitous,
Sunday.
wasn't it?
Oh, mate, a Sunday was you would get up, right? Go and play in the fives league at goals on a Sunday morning, come back and watch Super Sunday, then go up the road for dinner, then you get your mates back up again, you play Pro Evo.
Yeah,
It was like, oh, and Pro Evo 4, I'm sure it was, because I remember how often and how much time did you spend editing players' names and look in their likenesses and the
yeah,
kits? Honest to God. Remember you could go on eBay and buy like
yeah,
packs
yeah,
and people
yeah,
had literally made real replicas of the kits
yeah,
and you could load them in. It was like a master file or something they called it, and you
yeah,
basically copied it over and you got all the kits and the likenesses. I mind like my mate Mark, he's an Arsenal fan, right? And well, obviously did I tell him? But that time we had Ronald De Boer playing for us, right? And I put his stats all the way up. Like I just maxed him out before he came up, right? And he was just lethal. It was my favourite player at the time. And whenever De Boer did interviews in English, he had a lot of like so he'd go, yes, very happy to score a goal. It was like that's how it looks. Obviously Dutch, right? And lots of and his sentences. So every time I'm running at Mark's defenders and I'm skinning them with this like maxed out super stat De Boer, I just go right just to wind him up. So he was losing these nuts. So just wee daft things again. In your twenties doing stupid things, but it's just all these wee kind of memories and things that you did. But Pro Evo was just it was ingrained. I mean, I remember when I was at Anniesland College during the kind of PS1 days. So like from 98 to was it 97 to 98, I was at Anniesland College. There was a guy, Derek, and basically we had two classes in the morning on a Friday. And then after that, we would go up to his and just, mate, just play PES 98 or ISS 98 like all day, all the rest of the day. Just mental playing like tournaments and stuff like that. Other boys would come up and just play it as well. It was just the game was just so ingrained in kind of like British culture. Just it was because it was so good. Like passing was crisp, shooting was on point, after touch was phenomenal. The goalies weren't stupid. The tactics worked. The likenesses were phenomenal. Like just everything, the physics, the slide tackling, the whole thing. Like they had FIFA on toast. Like
yeah.
Konami had literally they finished them off. There shouldn't even be an EA, what do you call it, EA
FC,
Club or
yeah,
EAFC. Shouldn't even be that anymore, man. Like how they managed to take their foot off the gas and lose that lead because it was phenomenal. Like now, see if that had been in Dreamcast in the
yeah,
UK,
yeah.
that would have changed. That would have sold a lot of systems. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
always said that.
So,
I always,
yep,
most infuriating thing is that Pro Evolution Soccer came to the PS1. Came to the PS1. It's just like could have easily put that on the Dreamcast for crying
yep,
out loud,
yep.
and that would have, yeah, because I think people were crying out for a football game. You know, we
Mm.
sponsored. You've been through it before. Dreamcast sponsored bloody all these football teams didn't have a decent football game. If that was on the Dreamcast, it would have been a lifeline in Europe. But yeah, I mean, yeah, so PS2 obviously was a obviously the biggest selling console of all time still is, isn't it? They found an extra 5 million sales behind
I
the
down
sofa
the
when
back of the couch. You know what I mean?
when the Switch started getting close.
It's like Man City's owners trying to find a couple of million in the back of the couch to buy a player. It's
Yeah.
financial fair play. Oh, hold on a minute. We found a bit of sponsorship money here. We can go and buy a player. I just find a couple of million sales that they never realised were in existence.
Yeah.
Switch getting a bit too close for comfort. I think Sony are quite proud of that tag that PS2 has. Don't get me wrong, like PS2 is still my favourite PlayStation. Like, you
Oh, mine as well.
know what I mean?
It's a phenomenal console, and
Aye.
it's for all the shortcomings that I had, all the issues that I had with it visually, in terms of kind of the jaggies, it can look kind of blurry. It's got it, even now, like the video output when you put it through an OSSC is a complete pain, and it doesn't
Oh
quite look
mate,
the way you want it to.
into it's a horror to try and config.
Yeah, but even all that aside, there's something unique about PS2 visuals that like nothing else has kind of come close to since. They have that kind of, I don't know, that like the lighting effects on PS2, they're not quite the same in anywhere else. And even
Mhm.
kind of when I got games on other consoles, the ports just kind of weren't as good as they were on PS2. And I know there's like a few famous ones like Silent Hill 2 is best on PS2. Like the original Persona games are best on PS2 just because they have like lighting and fog that's, you know, only possible with the PS2's weird setup because it was just it works uniquely, almost like the Saturn did in a way, just doing weird stuff that looks really good at times. So it's a great console. But yeah, obviously, you and I, mate, obviously being the age that we were, and without Sega, we were kind of console nomads, and we was there, it was more.
Designated homeless.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, where do we go now? I saw it was a case of Sega were putting their stuff on everything, um, and I think it was Sega that the key driver for me getting an Xbox. I don't know what was the driver for you. Was it the Sega games? Because there was more than the PS2. I thought because PS2, yes, as I said earlier, it felt like they only got like crappy ports. Xbox, it was like brand new Crazy Taxi, brand new Jet Set Radio, brand new Panzer Dragoon, brand new, Jet Set Radio. Was it that, or was it the fact that Halo? We'll probably talk about Halo a little bit because that was a cultural phenomenon as much as Pro Evo was. What was it that drove it for you?
It was DOA 3 on a demo pod in Virgin Megastores at the top of Buchanan Street, which is now sadly shut down. A phenomenal multi-floored Virgin Megastore. Oh, top floor was just basically all games. They had like an area with like couches and big TVs. You could just literally go and play games all day, all systems set up, no charge. Like no one, they wanted to shut down. No just buying anything. Just got and playing games. But when I went in the main doors before the escalators that went up to the first floor, they had two Xbox demo pods, and me and Sam were just in. And I just remember the two of us just stopped and our jaws dropped. I was like, now I wasn't aware of an Xbox was coming out. So by this point, you're talking what March 2002, I believe it was when we came out
Yeah,
here. Um,
yeah, because it's 2001 over in the US.
Aye, so like I did my because I started working full time for my old employer, and that was September 2001. So by the time that came around into March 2002, I'd got my first ever annual bonus payment. But I remember I came out of my work, walked down past Dixon's in Argyle Street, and they had like basically three big rear projection TVs set up, and they had Halo, Dead or Alive, and Project Gotham running, and a big chalkboard, and it had Xbox plus these three games, like £11.82 a month. So I had my bonus. I'm like, yeah, £11.80. This is like, oh, fucking hell, man. I was on my way to get the bus home because I remember as well, like on the morning that I was into what that day, I think Big Breakfast did a feature on the Xbox launch. I remember because I always used to watch Big Breakfast before I left for work, and they had a feature going like Xbox launches today. Launching with these games, blah blah blah, and it was like showed you like clips of like overnight launches and stuff like that. But like, I never left the house intending to go and buy one. Like I was like, oh, right, that's out today. Oh, right, okay. Yeah. And then as I walked by Dixon's, and they had staff outside with like Xbox t-shirts, black t-shirts with the Xbox logo in there, like I'm gonna walk by it and I just little rubber neck straight back across the road, and it's like £11.82 a month. Like, give me that. And went in. That was my first ever credit agreement, mate. Was an OG Xbox. So I grabbed that, and that was the three games. It was Halo, Project Gotham, Racing, and Dead or Alive 3 that I got. An extra controller, and went up the roads with the biggest red Dixon's bag you've ever seen bulging. I just remember I walked in the door, my mum's like that to me. What have you been buying now? What? I was like, so I was that. And the thing I remember most about unpacking the OG Xbox is how strong the plastic smell was from the top of the controller. See where the memory card slots were? Mate, that was pungent. Like, I don't know what toxic material was in there, but it was like, woof, stings the
Oh,
nostrils, mate. But
I don't remember that. I don't remember this. I don't remember the smell of that because when I bought my Steam Deck recently, there's like I bought it off my friend's brother. So yeah, my friend's brother, he sorted me out with it, and he was like, "Oh yeah," because he just got it's not a ROG Ally, it's the one of like the really good PC handhelds. But yeah, he was like, "Yeah, you can. I'll show you this." He was like, "Oh, and the exhaust is here. The heat comes out there." He goes, "That's where the people sniff it." I was like, "What?" He's like, "That's where people sniff it." I was like, I've not heard of this. He's like, oh, it's ridiculous. He's going, there's a whole thing on there, the whole thing about people sniffing the fumes that come out the top. I don't think anything. No, got it from when I was playing it for a bit. I didn't think much, anything of it. And then I was playing it, and then for some reason I tilted it up, and the scent hit me right in the face, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's strong. It's like a massive solvent hit hitting you in the face coming out. I don't know what sort of heat dissipation they got in there. I imagine it's just that just that big solvent smell, like trying to take a massive inhale at a petrol station.
oh, thing is, mate, also I bought that Japanese Dreamcast off of Tom, right? And like, it's not modded at all, it's still completely stock. But I put it on, I had Soul Calibur on, right? And I always remember, see the smell that comes out the Dreamcast fan, right? And I
Mm.
went, oh, and I went, fucking sad bastard, by the way. But I went up to it and I'm like, mate, that took me back. It was like
Yeah.
that John Hamm. I said, it's like, whenever you smell your Dreamcast fan, mate, it was the same smell. I
It's
was
the
like,
chef out of Ratatouille, isn't
linguini.
it?
It's like, aye, it's no, it was the same. It's just one of these wee daft things, isn't it? It's just these are little kind of things that stick in your mind, but it's like
Yeah.
they never leave. So I was that was quite good. That was a nice nostalgic hit, almost literally sniffing your Dreamcast fan when it's heated up to get that electronic whiff, and it's the exact same. I was like, oh man, that takes me back.
Oh
Like,
yeah. But that first year of Xbox was very strong. It was a very strong launch window because I got mine 2000 and 2002. Got it Christmas 2002, and I actually got mine with the Sega GT Jet Set Radio Future double
mm,
disc. But I also got it also came with Splinter Cell and Halo, which again that's a phenomenal year. But then you also obviously had MSR, which even though it wasn't Sega, it kind of was because it was just Project Gotham, but with a new name and a new publisher. I mean, even like it must be that Bizarre Creation staff work on the Forza Horizon games because the whole skill thing is just the kudos system in those games, like
aye,
the near miss, drifting, skill chain, all that stuff. Like it's just MSR, but obviously MSR was PGR was amazing. But yeah, I got mine with Sega GT 2002, Jet Set Radio Future, which I loved. Sega GT I thought was so much better than the Dreamcast game.
aye.
Um, it felt like a genuine upgrade. Jet Set Radio Future, some bits I like, some bits I don't like as much. But yeah, the Xbox became my Sega console, for want of a
Mm.
better word. That's where I played my Sega games, and that's where I got Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, Spike Out, Pan's Dragoon Auto. That's where I played Fantasy Star Online for over 1,000 hours. That was that was my that was my Dreamcast system, and then obviously there was Xbox Live. But I think it was a combination of the Sega games and it was Halo. Halo just hit like an earthquake. And I know it's kind
Oh,
of it's kind of lost a lot of its luster now, which is a shame because I thought Halo Infinite was really good, at least in the beginning. But yeah, that was a monumental game when that came out. And that was one where did you ever get a chance to link your Xboxes up and play more than
No,
four
but
players?
no, well, we played the four players because I think at the time I had a 50-inch rear projection TV. So like I had the four controllers and the boys would just come up. We would just play like four-player versus
Mm,
on that TV, which was just phenomenal. The thing is, the Xbox for me, it was never about the Sega games. Like I went right into Xbox as Xbox. Like I
mm,
did get the Sega games, but at that point, kind of oddly, I'd started kind of like moving on. I think like the games I was getting from like Xbox and then like his PS2 was also getting into its kind of second year. It was starting to kind of flex his muscles. We say like stuff like GTA 3, Gran Turismo 3, Metal Gear Solid 2 was coming down the line. So you're starting to see that kind of flexing its muscles as well. But no, like PGR, the thing about PGR that gets me right is see if you look at it, it's got the same font in the menus as MSR. It's the same font.
yeah,
It's the same. It looks exactly like it. Even the way it displays the car models, they look just like slightly upscale Dreamcast versions. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it could well have been MSR2, and they've just
yeah,
pivoted to Xbox. But no, Halo was. Like, and I remember watching a review of Halo on remember Bits on Channel 4.
yes, well, yeah.
Remember Emily Booth and Alex, what's her name? Kind of mind, but remember they did it, and they said that, and they summed it up perfectly. It was like it was the first time that an FPS felt truly at home on a console. Like
Hmm.
the controller was just you never felt that it was like kind of compromise. You wouldn't have to kind of twist fingers underneath to get different sticks, and looking at you, GoldenEye. It was like it just felt natural. Like the dual sticks, the way they were positioned at a slight kind of angle. The black and white buttons weren't great. They were quite hard to kind of reach. I wasn't a great fan of
Mm.
them, but in the main, like just what a game. As you say, mate, it's lost a lot of its luster now with the way things have gone with Xbox. Like Halo Infinite, I think the campaign was decent enough. The story was okay. There wasn't enough in it to make me go back and kind of redo more kind of side quests or any kind of
Mm.
goals. Once I'd done the kind of campaign, I was happy. But no, like Halo in terms of like the way it controlled, the way it looked, the storytelling, the voice acting was going back now. It's not the greatest, but it was still a step up on voice acting that we'd heard. Um, and as I say, just like the kind of the score, the scale, everything about it, the multiplayer, even local like multiplayer, like it was just incredible. I remember like playing like it was so funny. When my mates used to, like, it was an actual. It's like they would duck. My mate Mark, one of the maps, it's kind of like a space kind of station, and it's all
Mm.
like kind of like silver, like kind of levels. Can't remember the names of the maps, but up in the top left corner there was a little room with a sniper rifle, and he used to camp up there, and we were walking about right, and all you would hear would be voot voot, and it would be him zooming in. And one of my mates was it Graham used to go. He used to actually hunch. Like it used to, he would hunch as if he was getting. Like mate, can he really shoot you? But aye, and then there was Eddie who used to grenade tag you whenever he would die. Bastard. Mate, it used to drive me nuts. It used to drive me absolutely insane. He thought it was the funniest thing ever. But aye, Halo, but PGR was good fun. DOA 3 was just complete eye candy. You think about the Aerosmith Nine Lives, the intro music as well. Phenomenal piece of music as well. But
I think
aye,
anyone that's kind of that's in any doubts around what DOA 3 looks like, literally just stick it into your modern day Xbox like right now, and you could easily be fooled into thinking it's a game from the last 5-10 years.
easily.
It's a ridiculous looking game. It looks so good. Like that coming out of 2001 hardware just blows my mind.
That's a Gaki man. Just knocked it out of the park with that man. It's just phenomenal. It's stunning. Even today, you put it on. It's just like again. I've got the kind of the component set up. I got it was an Xbox 360 HD component cable, but the seller had modded it to work on the OG Xbox. It was all recabled. So like you put it in the OSSC through component, mate. It just and obviously it being soft modded, and you've got access to open up all the resolutions as well because it's a PAL
Mm.
console. So you've got all the other resolutions to pick from. Some games don't like certain resolutions, as you know, like you've got to, some are only capped at 720, so we can go to 1080i, but it's even only, I think DOA 3 is one that only works up at 720p, but just look at it, it's like unbelievable. It's just such a good looking game.
And staying on Xbox, obviously 2004, Xbox Live, and Halo 2.
Oh, Xbox
um,
Live, mate.
and that just elevated it all for me. I mean, I was, yeah, because obviously with the PS2, as I was saying, I kind of wasn't touching the Sega stuff. On the Xbox, it was the Sega stuff that was part of the allure, but I was going into, the kind of the Xbox catalog. The Xbox exclusive catalog on there was pretty solid. You had the games we talked about already, and you had stuff like Ninja Gaiden, which is an absolutely outstanding game. Um, and then basically all the third party games were best on Xbox with a few exceptions. I remember getting Metal Gear Solid 2 on Xbox and being disappointed by that because it's not a great port. But most of the other stuff like Max Payne is phenomenal on the Xbox compared to the PS2 version. So, but yeah, it was like here's all the great. There's a great bunch of great Sega games on here. Sega's Xbox's first party stuff is absolutely brilliant, and now there's this online stuff which Sega did it a couple of years ago, but now it's like you stick your broadband cable in the back, and I was like begging with my parents, like, we've got to get broadband, because the dial-up's crap. We don't want dial-up anymore. So they got broadband, and Xbox Live came out a couple of months later, and I was like there straight away. And but my bedroom was like kind of above the living room, so I had to get my RJ45 cable plugged in the back, which I put through the window into the living room, ran across the living room to the phone wire to the router. But I was just like, it was in there all the time, and I was playing stuff like Unreal Championship, all sorts of stuff. Was it MotoGP? That was the motorbike
Yes,
one.
yes.
That was a good one.
Mate, the starter pack, the very first starter pack, which was the beta pack that came out for Xbox Live, there was a demo of MotoGP in it.
That might
I
be what I'm
remember,
thinking of. Yeah.
because I remember going on and it was hilarious. That went on and like the lobby filled up, and you could see like the little speaker icon because like, obviously it was picking up like noise, like, right? But and then I remember somebody went hello, right? And then people were going, I can hear you. Hello, hello, can you hear me? It was like, mate, again, people listen to this would be going, really? Like, it's just, you take it for granted, but it was hilarious. Like, just that somebody had to pluck up the courage to go, hello.
But
And it
but
just
that was
kicked it
part of it
all off.
because like obviously the Dreamcast had online gaming, but it was obviously very different to what Xbox Live gave. And yeah, I was the same. Like you'd get like Unreal Championship was ridiculous because you had like I think it was 16 players in a lobby, and everyone would join in, and it was like it's not like today where you get your matchmaking and kind of it just matches you, and then you get maybe a bit proximity chat. It basically just stuck you all on all in a server, and then it would just be like you see everyone filling up until it's got enough people to play, and then it'd just be a free for all. There was no there was no shielding anyone. Anyone would say anything,
Yeah.
and yeah, just I just remember some geezer going, "God, man, how's everyone doing? I'm so fucking stoned, man." And he was talking through the whole. He was just talking bollocks all the way through the whole game. But it was just like the Wild West of
Oh,
online
mate.
gaming because
Aye.
basically, obviously, you'd had online gaming with the Dreamcast without voice chat. I think there were some things that you could do with voice chat on the Dreamcast, but it wasn't widespread. You had obviously had PC gaming, but it was not as accessible. And then all of a sudden, it was just like for the price of what a £200 console, I think at the time it's like £200, usually with about 3 or 4 games,
Yep.
and a £40 starter pack. You would
That's
just
right.
unleash these people onto the online, which again we take it for granted now. Anyone with a £50 phone can go onto social media and voice their opinion or whatever. But back then it was just like it was mind blowing that you got all these
Aye.
people gathering in these online groups to play a game, and then just blowing the hell out of each other. And to be honest, mate, most of it was kind of good natured as well. You wasn't really getting anyone like rage quitting or anything like that. I don't know what your experience was.
Aye, there was no really. You get the odd kind of nut job, but there was never any like abuse or anybody really kind of stepping over the mark. I think people were just that enamored with the technology they were able to talk to other people while playing a game. It was like a complete novelty. Like no, as you say, mate. Like the no matchmaking, no kind of filters, no terms and conditions about behaviour. It was just like log in, talk, play. It was like that was it. It was just the first. It was like a first come, first serve. You joined the lobby, it filled up, and it started. There was no, that was it. You were assigned a team. Like there was no like picking sides or stuff like that. Like you just went in and just off you went.
Yeah.
It was mental. But I think like PGR2 was the first game I really started getting into like quite heavily online. Was Project Gotham Racing 2. I'm sure that I'm probably the first game I really put time into online. But no, just unbelievable, mate. Just MotoGP demo was eye opening stuff. That was again another memory that will just stick with me. Hello.
Yeah, I was playing quite a lot. I was playing pretty much once I got that pack. I was playing online all the time, and I remember playing stuff like I remember playing NBA 2K4, which again that's a Sega game, and I was just like I was like I'm pretty good at this. I've done the whole season and everything. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty tasty at this. I'll go online, and I get absolutely battered by everyone. I never won a game, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to play that one anymore. But
Oh,
yeah, it was an amazing time, mate. Yeah, and Halo 2 was just I was playing that solidly until I got my 360. I absolutely loved that, and obviously that was where matchmaking first came because you go like you say, you just jump into a lobby. It's just like it wasn't like you could. I think in some games you could pick your lobby, and it would just literally you wouldn't pick it with any kind of thought process other than this one's not full, but it's got enough people in it to have a game.
that's right.
Whereas, and then you go in there and everyone would be like ninjas and you'd be awful. Whereas, obviously, when Halo 2 came out, absolutely phenomenal. And again, another phenomenal game. And then the online on that was just a revelation because, like, it was just like, all right, I'm not great at this game. I'm getting matched with other people that aren't great. So this is a bit more fun than me just getting
Aye.
my ass handed to me for 10 minutes at a time.
Aye, exactly. No, I've never been the best at first person shooters online, mate. I've never get the hang of them. The first game that I was ever actually good at online in terms of like fighting, like racing games was fine, but was Gears of War. But we'll get to 360 in due course. But in Halo, mate, I was just like, no, Halo 2, I kind of had a barn door with a banjo, mate. I'm awful online. I get just destroyed. Even in matchmaking, mate, I just was so bad at it. Which kind of set the precedent because I've never went online in any Halo since.
Oh, no.
It's like they're just bad. Just don't bother.
Oh, yeah. I was playing it a lot. I wasn't good at it, but I wasn't terrible. But yeah, I mean, obviously there was so much going on there because you had the Game Boy Advance out as then, which I love the Game Boy Advance in its original form. Unplayable now it feels like because the screen's so dark.
Mm.
I keep meaning to get like a modded one with a light up screen because that was where obviously you had the Sonic Advance games. And out the sort of same time with that obviously was the GameCube. Obviously, I grabbed one. Did you grab a GameCube?
Sam imported one. I got one eventually from that Virgin Megastore. I think it was a Mario Kart pack. It was a silver one.
Oh, the double dash. Yes, I know exactly
Uh,
the pack that you're talking about.
so it was that. I think it was like 50 quid or something I got it for. And Virgin it was like, again, this is why the things that you walk by and go, huh, why not? Like, just like my green crystal and clear crystal Xboxes that I got in Game Station, they were in the window for like 60 quid each or something. And I went, huh, why not? Like, it was the end of life kind of thing, but it looked cool. It wasn't the Halo like branded green one, but it was just the kind of crystal green.
Hmm.
Just bought them. Mine like my mate going, like, why are you buying them? You've got an Xbox. Like, because they're cool. It's like nah, the joys. See, 20s and disposable income, mate.
That was
Dangerous
it.
time.
I was exactly the same. But this was I would have got my GameCube. I remember distinctly it was 2005 because they were making room for the Xbox 360. So they it was just like original Xbox is still selling okay over in the UK. I think there were still games coming out for it. Um, PS2, obviously, you just kept, those things you couldn't not sell them anymore. They were just like they were selling on and on and on. I mean, didn't it got a copy of FIFA 14 version of FIFA 14 in the end? The PS2 it just kept going,
Aye.
so that was never going to be off the shelves. But it was just like, well, something's got to make room for the 360. It's going to be the GameCube, and I can't remember why. I was just in Curry's, and I was walking past, and I just saw clearance. Just saw a stack of black GameCubes, 29.99. Right. There we go. I'll have one of those.
Jeez, man.
Because I first played it, again, my friend Charlie got a copy. I think it's either him or his brother got one and brought it around to my mate's house. And the four of us were playing, and we were playing like Super Monkey Ball and, God, is it Rogue Squadron? The Star Wars game on there?
Yes, aye, that was good.
Which was really good. Yeah, so I was kind of, I enjoyed them, but I wasn't kind of in love with it. So it wasn't like I need to go out and spend another 200 quid on a console. But it was just like when I saw it for 30 quid, I was like, yep, I'll grab that. Mario Kart Double Dash, which is it's a mental Mario Kart game. Some people say it's their favorite. It's a bit too busy for me, but it's fun enough as it is. And then yeah, mostly Zelda the Wind Waker was what I played on there. I did get all the Sonic Adventure games. I remember just being really disappointed with the remakes DX and Battle on the GameCube. But yeah, GameCube was worth it for me for Legend of Zelda the Wind Waker. I think that was when I really fell in love with Zelda at that point. Because I'd loved Link to the Past. I wasn't a big fan of Ocarina of Time at the time. But then I got Wind Waker, and then I got the bonus disc in Wind Waker, which had Ocarina of Time on it, and then I played it then, and then I loved that as well. So that was that was probably the purpose of the GameCube for me. It was kind of making me appreciate Zelda more. But beyond that, it was, I don't know. It's an odd console, isn't it? I mean, I can't really think of much beyond that personally. I remember playing Mario Sunshine and thinking that was
Oh,
awful.
that's pish.
But
The two,
what did you get to play on it when you got yours?
well, mate, the two games that I remember playing most was Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes,
Yes.
which was decent, and of course F-Zero GX. You
Oh, of
know,
course, yeah. I do have GX, yeah. That is phenomenal.
mate, that's just a. And I was like one of those kind of. I was today's years old when I found out Sega made it. Like I had no idea until like the last couple of years that was a Sega game.
Oh, really?
So I was like, and it all makes kind of sense. I was like, Nintendo have done a right good job of this. This feels like a pure arcade game. Well, that's why, because Sega made it. That's why,
Yeah.
But oh,
Yeah,
what
because
a game that is!
it is. I mean, Sega made an F-Zero game so good that Nintendo haven't made one since.
Enough. Like,
They can't top it, so why bother? It's like when Miyamoto wanted to make a fighting game and he saw Yu Suzuki's Virtua Fighter and just went pfft, and he came out in an interview and said, "Yeah, I'm not going to make a fighting game because Yu Suzuki's already made a really good one."
that's it. Why bother?
Yeah.
But GX is brilliant. Twin Snakes was okay. Visually looked fine, but didn't really offer much gameplay wise over the PS1 version, which I absolutely love. That it's my favorite PS1 game, Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, mine as well.
But,
Okay, so it's my favorite PS1 game.
Aye, decent enough. Good to kind of see it with slightly newer graphics and whatnot. But F-Zero, like Mario Kart again, got Double Dash with it. It's all right. See, I've never been again. I picked it up because it was $49.99. Why not? It was like big stack of them just sitting there. Why not? But I like Nintendo games. I see like your Mario Karts, your Zeldas. Metroid Prime was another one. I played that.
Yes. I only got to that later, like in the last 10 years. I finally got around to playing that properly. So I didn't play it at the time. But did you play it back then, though?
I picked it up. I can't mind how much I paid for it, whatever. But again, never finished it. Never got too far into it. But it was nice enough, decent. Was no Halo. You know what I mean? To be fair,
Yeah.
but its own kind of unique style. I always remember the kind of the visual style of it. Been really, really impressed with it. The kind of the HUD and the big cannon, on screen bombing away. But
Yeah.
Nice enough game. But I was the same. Wasn't a game console I was going to go out and spend like 200 quid on, but bargain bucket price, why not? You know what I mean? It was 50 quid. It's a night out. Well, it used
Yeah,
to be.
exactly. I mean, yeah, because I think I bought most of my games from CEX once I got mine. So like Zelda, Mario Kart, F-Zero GX, got them all from CEX. But yeah, it was it's time. It had its time with me. You know, it had about a year where I was kind of like playing that and the Xbox. Xbox was still my main console because like that same time, I got stuff like Spike Out, Outrun 2. Obviously, we've not
Aye.
mentioned Outrun 2 yet.
Sacrilege. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
um, but yeah, I was still going to my Xbox for everything. Obviously, the Xbox Live and all that sort of stuff. So I was still deeply wedded to that. But it was a fun distraction. But yeah, it does feel like you get to that point where the GameCube's dying out. Um, the PS2's getting a bit long in the tooth. Say Dreamcast is long dead, and then the 360's on the horizon, and then kind of you feel like kind of you've got that kind of break point, I think, where you've got all that going on. Sega, meanwhile, are closing their deal with Sammy. It will change them forever, and Outrun 2 and Afterburner Climax are almost like the last hurrah in that
Aye.
respect. And it's kind of into this new wave of consoles, mate. But you got your 360 on launch day, didn't you?
But um, Xbox, mate. I get my Xbox 360. I got it at launch, but basically, there was a thing. I don't know if you ever went to it, if it came to kind of close to you. There was a thing called the Xbox Experience, right?
Yeah, I never saw it, but
Oh, mate.
I'd heard about it.
Aye, so the Glasgow one was in a place called the Lighthouse. It's like a kind of like an arts and kind of conference centre. It's down a kind of lane off Buchanan Street. In fact, it used to be there was a Disney store, so I don't know, a Warner Brothers store, sorry, in Buchanan Street, and it was the lane was up the side of that, and it was on the top floor. So you went in, and they basically had like a kind of reception area, and they would give you like a wristband that gave you 15 minutes. So it was on. I'm sure it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was on, and my mate Eddie met me after work, and we popped up, got wristbands. I think it was on till like 8 o'clock at night or something. It was like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or thereabouts. Gets a wristband, goes up, gets your 15 minutes. So you're playing like Cameo, Tiger Woods, PGR3. What else was there? What else was there? Cameo, DOA3, no DOA3. Cameo, PGR3, Tiger Woods. I think PGR3 is where I spent most of my time. Eddie was a big golfer. He played the Tiger Woods a lot. But basically, you're up there, big, like all the kind of the 360 demo pods with the Samsung TVs with the big grey triangular speakers at the bottom, and all green lights and green sheets all over the place, all decorated, all 360 branding. But after your 15 minutes were up, was a wee thing came over and you were told to go downstairs. So we were up and down like basically down, getting all this band back up. So it got to the point we turned up on the Saturday, was there first thing, turned up. I says to the guy, I went, mate, just going to use like 6 or 7 wristbands. I says to say, let's come downstairs, but we ain't going home. Like, we're staying here for as long as possible. So he basically up on the hum, went up there and just spent the whole day basically just playing Xbox 360. And then on the Sunday, I went to Game Station, and because that's where I used to buy my games most for like, that kind of era. Because like Charlie's was gone, so it was Game Station, and then further up the road was GeForce. In the Game Station, and I says, look, Xbox 360. I think it was about 2 months before launch. I says, I want one at launch. I says, how do I pre-order one to get one? The guy's like, well, if you pre-order, he says, there's no guarantee. He says, we'll contact you. I says, no, if I pay for the full amount now, not a deposit, if I pay you the full amount now, like, will you give me one? They went, we'll go talk to my manager. So the manager comes back and he's like, if you pay the full RRP now, he says, we'll bump you up the list. So I paid the full 279, and 279, mate.
For a brand new console.
A brand new
Back then.
cutting edge console. That was obviously the premium. Paid my 279, and I got bumped up, and got one for on launch night. Funny thing as well, waiting again, went to the midnight launch. Something again that's completely lost on people now because we just don't get them. Went to the midnight launch. I actually bumped into a guy Tony that I hadn't seen since secondary school, mate, in the line waiting to buy my 360. So I was like, look, Tony, what are you doing here? Buy the 360, mate. Well, obviously, but he's like, I can't go get Call of Duty, mate. He was in to get Call of Duty. Can't
Oh
remember
yeah,
what Call of Duty was the launch game for the
it
Xbox
was Call of
360.
Duty
But
too.
he
Yeah, it
was
was
in to
the
get that.
yeah.
Perfect Dark Zero. That was another game because that was the three I got. I get PGR3. Was it PGR3 Cameo and Perfect Dark Zero
Yeah.
that I took home? But honestly, what a machine the 360 was, man. Just took everything about the OG Xbox, ramped it up, just graphics. The Xbox Live just got a massive overhaul, was just phenomenal. Joined the OXM forums, met a bunch of guys for down south. One of which I still keep in touch with, a guy for Leeds called Mike Bingo. Was Mike, it was Paulinho T, Rob289, Trail Monster, Robosaurus, Gareth. Remember we playing PGR3 online, and our races we were always kind of chatting shit with each other and ribbing each other and all that kind of thing. We had we set a thing up called the Monday Night Club, right? Where we all went online at like 7 o'clock. We just played all night into the early hours, right? So it was just us. So like most lobbies for the games were like kind of like 8 players. So we had 8 of us. So we just kind of, there's one boy's name that just completely escapes me, but we had 8 people and we're just always in the lobby. So playing PGR3 and stuff like that, you're having a laugh and whatnot. But it was one race. It was one of the Vegas tracks, right? And we were all bunched up, but everybody was nailing the turns right, and it was silent, right? Completely silent. You could tell everybody was concentrating. There was no banter, right? And Gareth's microphone icon flagged up the top right hand corner because all you heard was right. And I just goes, it was like a couple of seconds. I went, somebody fart, right? Convulsions, mate. It's the most immature thing ever. But there was honestly, there's people laughing in your ears. There's cars veering off the road. People are just in absolute convulsions about it. But it's just a great bunch of just really daft 20-something guys just playing online, just having a right good laugh. And that extended into kind of Gears of War. That was the guys that I played like Gears with as well. Just we used to mix up who was in whose team because Trail Monster was a monster with a sniper rifle. See on that canals level, mate. See if you got the sniper rifle first, you were gone. He was lethal. But what a system, mate.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. I got mine a year after launch because I was still playing Xbox and GameCube at the time. PS2 had long gone. My brother had taken that to uni with him in about 2003, 2004. So I was playing those two. But yeah, I needed an Xbox because the new Sonic the Hedgehog game was coming to the Xbox, and I'd seen the trailer, the E3 trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog, a game just called Sonic the Hedgehog, and I was just like, this looks like the greatest thing ever. You know, the theme playing from Zebrahead playing over the top, and I was just like, yes, this is Sonic Adventure 3, but just like the graphics look amazing. And yeah, I bought my Dreamcast, my Xbox 360 on the basis of that. Like I bought it for Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, which sounds crazy. And I bought it. It was one of the. I kind of bought my 360 on a whim in the end, like 2 weeks before Sonic 06 came out. So I had a game where I used to work in Barnet. There was like a very small shopping centre called the Palisades, and they had like a game in there, and I would go in there all the time and buy so many games from there. Again, 20-something-year-old disposable income. I was always in there, and I was in there, and I think the 360 just got kind of a price cut, and I got a 360 was it a premium? It was the
Premium and
premium, wasn't
core,
it?
aye.
Yeah, because the pro was the black one, wasn't it?
That was the elite.
The elite. So I got the premium, but it was a premium, an extra pad, PGR3, FIFA 07, and Rockstar Table Tennis.
Mate, what a game that was.
That was a brilliant game.
Oh, so good. I mean, how realistic you thought it was at the time as well.
Yeah, that and
Oh,
FIFA
mate.
07, I was just like, these games are like real life. I was like playing FIFA '07, and I was playing it like late at night, and my brother was home then, and I was just like, Sonny, look at this, look at this, look at the sweat beading off
The
Jermaine
sweat.
Genius's
That's what I
head.
was going to
It looks
say. The
zooming right
sweat.
in the replay. I was
Look
like,
at
this is unbelievable.
Ronaldinho. He's pure sweating. It's like,
Yeah. So yeah, so they kept me going for a while. FIFA
mm.
'07 I thought was solid, and then FIFA '08 was a bit of like of a return to form, and I think that's where the power balance shifted between Pro Evo and FIFA again. And then, but then yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog came out 2 weeks later. I was like, I was in game the day before, and I was like, come on, just give it to me today. I know you got it back there. I was like, no, we can't give it to you. I was like, for fuck's sake. So when I got it the next day, played it. You know, I tried to make the best of it, but knew it was shite. Um, and then a week after that, Gears of War hits, and
Oh,
you know, I was all in on Gears of War. And then think it was the last big game I remember getting is like SmackDown versus Raw 2007 and a third pad, and just playing that for hours. And that SmackDown versus Raw 2007 was another one where it's just like, look at Triple H coming through, blow it. Look at the water going up in the air. You can see the sweat coming off him. Uh, you look at those graphics now, and they're primitive, but yeah, those games. And then yeah, I was buying loads of 360 games like Oblivion. I think that was a HMV at the time, a two for £50, and the games weren't even that old. So I got like Dead Rising and Oblivion.
oh, what a game, man. My
Dead
wife loved
Rising,
Dead Rising. She loved that.
yeah.
Like, she played that as well. That was a brilliant game, I
I've
know.
covered wars, you know.
Oh man, what a system, honestly. Gears was transformative. Like the Mad World trailer, like
Yeah,
it's just I still it's the best video game trailer ever made. It's I remember seeing that and it came up and it said on it that it's like an engine. And I'm like, you're telling me this is what the game looks like? This is the game's graphics. Like you're
yeah,
like, holy shit.
I know.
Like there was nothing it just looked like nothing you'd ever seen before. Like the level of detail, the emotion, the expressions, the visual effects, like just the sheer level of detail. Like that copter comes out the ground. It's like at the
Mm,
end he's kind of firing away, and the copter's kind of over him, and you
yeah,
see the detail and the spikes in the face, and it's like Marcus with scar and
mm,
the kind of the ruffling his bandana and stuff like that. It was just everything was just so detailed. And then you play the game itself, and I know like Gears One stock now still looks good, but it's clearly aged. But there's still something quite unique about the original Gears still
yeah,
playing it. It's very grey now. Whenever you go back to it, it's the kind of it's not quite the piss filter, but it's not far off it.
yeah,
But as I say, that the thing that transcended Gears is the story is phenomenal. The campaign's absolutely incredible. But the multiplayer, mate, just so much fun playing that. You get the expansion pack here, Raven Down, which is an absolute bastard of a map.
yeah.
Like it's so claustrophobic. But I think it was like one of the kind of first instances I could like DLC as well. Once it was Raven Down, I'm sure.
Might have been. Yeah, because Halo 2 had the map packs, but the Halo
Yeah.
2 map packs eventually went for free on the original Xbox console. Whereas I think, yeah, it was one of the first. Well, obviously, you had the infamous Oblivion horse armor as well.
Mm.
But yeah, that was one of the first big ones. But God, the 360 just went from strength to strength because Halo 3 was an event that was just like seismic when that hit. And at that point, it was like a bunch of my mates all had 360s and we were all playing online all the time. Like it's like every night we're online playing Halo 3. And there was like, we'd jump into, you'd get like squads of four or something, I think you can have. And they'd always be full. Because we were playing it non-stop. I remember one time we were playing this team. Now obviously with the voice chat like we were talking earlier, they were like we could hear everything they were saying. Um, and they were French, and they were beating the shit out of us. Like it was something like I think it got to the point where it was like 41-20, and I was like, lads, we've got to lock in, and we turned it around, ended up beating them 50-48, and obviously gets into the lobby in the end. And the proximity chat's on you just in the lobby chat, and you could hear him going, "Oh my god, oh my god." Then my mate Aaron went, "Ah, that you French bastards." Apologies to our French listeners, but
Oh, Frog Bill's just turned off. That's
but it was
oh
just
man.
yeah, it was just it's stuff like that. It's just kind of I don't know. It's just like everyone was playing it, everyone was well into it, and you know it was just non-stop. Like Halo 3 was a high water moment
Oh,
for me. Um, and then I think the other thing that was massive for me was Street Fighter 4. That was an
yes.
obsession. That was an obsession for me. I was on the Games TM forums because like you were saying you're on the Xbox ones. I was on Games TM. I don't know if there's anyone from there listening to this, but I know there's a few people from there on Twitter. But yeah, that used to be where I'd be on all the time on the Games TM forums. If I was at work, I had that in another tab somewhere. Um, and then we'd all organise like matches through there. I ended up having like 2,000 matches on Street Fighter 4. I think was it 2,000? Might be more than that.
Jeez,
I was
oh.
playing it non-stop, and then obviously Super came out and Arcade Edition, and then Ultra. But oh yeah, I was absolutely obsessed with that game. It's a shame because the Games TM forums eventually around the same time at the end of the decade got blocked by my work. I couldn't go on them anymore. And then I met my
Oh,
my now wife. So I kind of stopped posting there for a bit, which was a shame. But yeah, I was yeah, it was organising loads of multiplayer games through that, and we do like we'd chase achievements through there. We'd get a bunch of people to go in
mm,
there and try and get the online multiplayer achievements in Halo and stuff like that. But yeah, it was so special though, mate, wasn't it? That 360, like it remains, I think one of my favorite consoles of all time.
aye.
You know,
Aye,
uh,
even despite the failure rate, the games were so good, the online was so good that you almost put up with it. It was like it never detracted for the experience for me. Like I know there's people that maybe got a 360 and they are ROD maybe once or twice and walked away from it, but like yeah, it shouldn't have happened. They should have made sure that it was made properly. I get that, but it didn't matter how many times that thing would RRODO. It would just like the games were too good. Like too many good exclusives. The online was just nailed on. Like it was, you could almost forgive it. Like that's fine. Just get it repaired and just give me it back. You know what I mean? It's fine. I'll give me a go to a game and take the seat in and get another one or whatever under
yeah,
warranty, whatever. But the one game I remember sinking a shitload of time into on 360, and I know it came out on the OG Xbox as well. But and I know Burnout 3 is most people's favourite Burnout, but mate, see Burnout Revenge.
yeah.
Oh, I love that game so much. Like even now, it's it's just such a good game. Like, I put so many hours into that when I bought it for 360. Got one of the best music tracks, Junkie XLs today. Mate, I just picked that non-stop. And I don't know what's happened, but he's took it off of he's took it off of Spotify. Had to go on Apple Music or iTunes and buy it because I was meant to go on the Arcade Attack podcast with you, and Burnout Revenge was going to be one of my picks,
Mm.
and it was because I was sitting thinking about it, and I was like, I'm singing that song in my head. I was like, I need to go listen to that, and I had it on one of my playlists on Spotify, and it was grayed out, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I even had it downloaded, but the download's been removed. Tried to search for Junkie XL, went back online, checked for it. Loads of tracks. Today wasn't there. And it goes on Apple Music and it's on there. And I'm like, well, I need to buy the single. So I've got like a 5 minute single mix now. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. I'm just sitting like, this is amazing. But it's such a good track. But even just the game, like, I know people don't like the kind of, because obviously in Burnout 3, if you're out the back of somebody, that you still crashed.
Yeah.
Whereas in Burnout Revenge, you could do those, like you could shunt them. You know, as long as they were going the same direction as you, you could use them as a battering ram to kind of nudge them up, and you could nudge them into other cars to take them down and stuff like that. But oh, mate, so many hours. Like crash mode as well, and Burnout Revenge is just incredible. So that was a game I put a shitload of time into. And the thing as well with 360, mate, is it's it's tied to like my marriage or my time with my wife, because obviously 360 came out in December 2005 here, and I got it at launch, and I met her in January 2006. So like when people go, it's been like almost 30 years since Xbox 360. I'm like, well, it's like, or 20 years, sorry, almost 20 years since Xbox 360. You go, well, that's kind of my time I met my wife was literally weeks after getting it. So it's see special for that reason as well. But no, just what a machine, man. Just still like the best Xbox there's ever been. They'll never top that. Even
No.
from this new CEO last year, she seems to be making some kind of good noises, kind of righting some wrongs. It seems through what I've been told and what I'm reading, starting to kind of try and make amends of some kind for some things Phil Spencer did. But um, like you'll never like 360 was like in a bottle. It was just perfect.
But the thing when you talk about burnout just now, it just made me think, and we talked a lot about the online, but we've also been talking about kind of the social aspect as well.
Mm.
I don't think you can ever replicate the Xbox 360 in a way that you can never replicate stuff like when we're talking about the 90s, like arcades. Going down the arcade, that's something that doesn't happen anymore. We've got the specialist kind of venues now, but they're not quite kind of the same as arcades being everywhere. Same as kind of, you know, old games being around your mates all the time playing, Streets of Rage or Sensible Soccer or something like that. So, like, but the 360 kind of sits on that transition where games like Outrun 2, Burnout, Revenge, they were arcade games, but they were effectively what you'd call now AAA games. They were still high profile, big, massive retail releases that would come out. Um, and they were big games that looked stunning. Whereas, but then you obviously get your other triple A games and you get your story games. So you kind of had a bit of everything. So with the online, you had the online. We were doing, as I said, we're playing Halo 3 all the time. You're playing Gears all the time. You had your Monday nights crew, but then you'd also play Pro Evo, SmackDown. Whenever you were all together, you'd play loads of multiplayer games when you were all together. So it was that transitional period where you kind of had kind of the best of both worlds, I think.
Aye, yep,
Um, and you'll never get that replicated again. But then
no,
you also you had indie games to an extent because of the Xbox Live Arcade, which was kind of a
yes,
brand new novel idea at the time with true indie games, which were really like little 8-bit arcade games. And then you had games like I remember when Street Fighter 2 Turbo appeared on the Xbox Live Arcade store. I remember when Castlevania Symphony of the Night appeared on there, and I was like buying that straight away. Got my um PS1 version. How much is that going on eBay for? 50 quid? What do I need this version for anymore? All the games are going to come onto these online platforms now. What was I thinking? But it
mate.
was that
360s, but made me sell on that old stuff.
yeah. I think it was like it all seemed to work so well, like
Aye,
in its heyday before they brought in kind of I think the new Xbox experience when they changed the UI was good and that was
aye.
still good.
The
Wasn't as good as
blades,
the
the blades
blades.
was unsurpassed, mate. The blades were
Yeah,
phenomenal. That's peak Xbox UI. Like
yeah.
bring the blades back for the next Xbox
Yeah.
as they were, the same colors, the same fonts. The blades were fucking brilliant. I loved the blades.
Yeah. But it was it was just like you had a bit of everything in there. It's just in my opinion, one of the greatest consoles of all time. It's my second favorite console of all time behind the Saturn. You know,
Same. Yep.
um although I don't actually play it as much these days because it's funny, mate, because it's kind of painful to go back to because the disc reading on everything, the loading on it, and the time it takes to load up even the UI is quite painful.
Mate,
But
how did we play that thing late at night?
yeah,
Like
it's
you,
so loud.
like it's not just the fans. You put a disc in, it's like Jesus between the fans and the disc spinning up. It's like, how did you ever play that late at night?
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Jeez, oh man, we did.
But it's funny because mine's been getting a lot of a workout, a lot of use lately, and not from me. I've not actually been playing it. It's quite funny you saying that you and your missus kind of met up at that time, but I kind of met up with mine. Would have been 2010 rather than 2000s, but yeah, I obviously had a 360, and our oldest loved Connect.
Yeah,
And he's obviously this is 2010s, but he's been playing it a lot lately with our youngest, which is crazy. They've both been playing, been working. I can hear like when they're running, doing Connect Sports or doing the football or something on there. So it's amazing. Obviously, that was, and again, we're talking about the next decade now, so I won't labour the point too much. But Minecraft was kind of, they all had 360s at one point because of Minecraft until kind of they got Xbox Ones much later on. But yeah, there was a point where I think at the point people were said like the Xbox One had been out for a while, and they all still playing Minecraft, and they all had 360s. People on Facebook Marketplace were selling them for like 20 quid, and I was just like,
Aye.
but yeah, what a console, mate.
Oh, and it's almost split into kind of two halves as well. It's got two very distinctly different feels. Like I think the premium, the core, and the elite kind of represent the Peter Moore era, and then
Yeah,
he moved on, and then you had the new Xbox experience, and then you had like the Slim, and then you had the 360e, which kind of I think tried to mirror the Xbox One design slightly, the way it
yeah.
was the shell was kind of designed, and then that felt, and also you had Connect, so it felt like a slightly different console. But the kind of first like, 3 years with Peter Moore was just, and that OG hardware was just what a machine. Like how many TVs, HD ready TVs, must have been sold? I bought a 42-inch plasma from Comet and Partick just because I was getting a 360. Like
There's a HD TV there, a Matsui from Curry's that I actually bought for Halo 3. So here's a story. I was getting super competitive in Halo 3. Like obviously I was playing the campaign online with my mates. We were playing multiplayer all the time. But I'd also play it on my own as well. And like I was doing like Rumble Pit, where it's like all against all, isn't it? Um, and I was pretty making my way up the ranks, and I was stuck there, and I just wasn't winning. So I got the HD TV because I was like, well, obviously the problem is the fact that I'm using this SD TV. I need it accurate, so I need the HD TV. Had the TV for a month, and I think my mum tells the story best because my brother and sister were in the house at the same time. But they just heard I obviously lost the game, and all everyone downstairs heard was, "You fucking bastard!" Boom! No! What I'd done is I'd fuzz my controller at my telly and smashed the telly. Um,
Please tell me that's how close together that was.
it
It
was
was
there. Yeah, they tell the story. That's how close it
instant
was.
realization that you'd fucked up.
Yeah,
The rage is
it
still
was.
flowing through you, but you've realised you've made such a
Yeah,
mistake.
yeah. So I remember doing it like instantly. It was like instantly the telly just went.
Just off. That's it.
Like this picture was still there was still a picture there, but obviously there was cracks all the way up it.
Oh
And
man.
yeah, I ended up getting a new one on insurance that replaced it. The one that I've still got today that's sitting there. But yeah,
Accidental damage.
yes.
So can you tell
Oh,
me how this happened?
yeah.
I just tripped. It's like, oh
But yeah,
man.
you're right about the two eras, mate. Because yeah, I think those first from 2005 to 2009, they were untouchable. Like stuff we could go on forever and ever about the games that came out. Fable, Mass
Oh,
Effect, Ninja Gaiden 2. There was so many. It was like, and we'll get onto the other consoles in a bit, but there was just so many on the 360. And then I think they just got a little bit too overconfident. And after Connect, it kind of just went downhill a little bit. It was still good, but I could tell it had changed, and then I kind of switched over to it. It kind of felt like Connect was kind of the symbolizing the new Xbox, where it was going from there, which would feed into the Xbox One, and we all know how that
yes.
turned out.
Mm-hmm.
And Halo Reach that I got,
Oh man,
to
what a game.
2010, was kind of the end of that era. That was Bungie's last game
Hmm.
with Xbox, and we all know what's happened to Bungie now. And yeah, because that's kind of that kind. I think that splits that Xbox era, and then everything else afterwards just has never been the same since. But those 5 years with Xbox 360 are some of the best gaming years of my
Oh,
life.
phenomenal. as you say, mate, you did feel that you were getting everything. It was the best at everything. Like it was futuristic, but it didn't abandon the past. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So, like you said, you could go online and play, but you still had all your local kind of multiplayer games. They never felt compromised either way. Plethora of exclusives, like reasons to buy the machine. But people like shit on exclusives. Like you see people as well on like sometimes you stumble across stuff in Reddit and people talking about exclusives and folk going, no, exclusives are just, you're just locking people out, you're gatekeeping people for a platform by having exclusives. And it's like, no, but exclusives are the reason to buy a machine. They're the identity of that system. Like, if everybody had the same games in every console, then why have different platforms? What's the point? They're differentiators. They've always been something that identifies you. You buy a Nintendo console to play Mario. You bought a Sega Mega Drive to play Sonic. You bought an Xbox to play Gears. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It was always that way. So I miss the days of having exclusives. Like again, it gave people a reason to go and buy another console. As well. Like, and it was back at that time where there was like unique differences. Still, we've spoken about that so many times on here. They still had the console still had their own unique look. Like an OG Xbox had a completely different look to PS2. You mentioned it earlier, the way PS2 graphics looked. There was nothing like it before or since. It had a distinct look. So did OG Xbox games going forward. 360 games had a certain look because of the hardware. PS3 games most certainly had a very
mm,
stylized look because of the hardware. GameCube games had their own look. So, that's the things that you miss. That kind
mm.
of uniqueness, as I've said before. But I mean, PS3 is one we've not touched on. Obviously
No,
we're
I was going
talking
to
about
jump onto that
360,
next.
but
Yeah,
PS3, the behemoth,
yeah.
literally.
Well, the George Foreman grill.
Aye.
Yeah. I'm see for me the PS3. I got kind of secondhand later on. I got a fat one. Um, and I got it for what game did I buy it for? I bought it for an exclusive, and it might have been Demon Souls, or it might have been Demon Souls and a couple of others. Um, and it was kind of like I was not impressed because I got PS Plus with it, and I was like, every game that I'm playing on this is worse than on 360. It just felt like a crap 360. I hated the cross media bar. I thought it was awful.
Aye.
Um,
Brought over for PSP.
It sounded like a jet engine taking off. Everything just felt so clunky about it. Um, but the thing about the PS3 is I think it's probably arguably um, Sony when they really came into because obviously the PS2. When we've been talking PS2, we've still been talking about Namco games. We were talking about Tekken Tag, and Ridge Racer, and then we were talking about Metal Gear, Grand Theft Auto. Obviously, they had the God of War games and Ico, but Ico kind of felt like a. If Ico came out today, someone would say it's an indie game.
Yes, I can see that.
um,
Yep.
Whereas on the PS3, that's when they really started. It started to really feel like they'd got a handle on creating software. As much as I'm not a fan of the Uncharted games, I kind of respect what they do. Um, then you had like God of War 3. You had so many great PS3 games in the 2010s. Before, obviously, I think like Last of Us was obviously the following decade. Sorry, the 2000s, I mean, and then Last of Us was 2010s. But you had some fantastic games coming out then. As much as I dislike the console so much about the console, I mean, I've got one now over there. I hate the DualShock 3. I think it's awful. The
How light is
downgrade.
that, by the way? It feels so flimsy.
It is flimsy. Like I've gone
You know
through
what I
so
mean?
many of them. Like
Aye.
it feels like such a downgrade from the PS2 DualShock 2.
Mm.
I just yeah, I don't want to just get on to just ripping the shit out of the PS3 because I'll be here all day, and it's not the point of this. The point is to say how good gaming was in the 2000s.
Aye.
But but yeah, it was for all the shortcomings on PS3, and a lot of people love the PS3, so that's just my opinion about the hardware itself. Regardless about the hardware and the third-party games that were all better on Xbox, there was some phenomenal games on the PS3. And it was even if the games weren't quite as good, there were like some ran at lower frame rates. Like Sonic Unleashed is basically, I think it's unplayable on the PS3. But if you kind of overlooked kind of the lower frame rates and the lower resolutions, all the games are there. all the classic games are like all the third party games that are on the 360 are on the PS3. Some of them are better. Final Fantasy kind of 13 is better on the PS3. Um, so there's some phenomenal games on there. But yeah, I got mine late. When did you get yours, mate? When did you get
Midnight
your
launch.
PS3? You got
With
yours on launch as well.
yes, and Kimberly had bought me a Wii months earlier, and it was shit.
I'll get
So
onto the Nintendo consoles in a bit.
so basically, the Nintendo Wii paid for a substantial chunk of my PS3 because
Oh, you got traded in.
yes, and you were getting very good value for it because there were still various hen's teeth to try and get your hands on stock wise. So, yep, I basically my father-in-law drove me in again to Game Station, the same place that I got my 360 from, same store. Um, my father-in-law had a blue Toyota RAV4 Jeep at the time, and that's what he had that parked right outside the shop because that was in and straight back out again. But aye, kind of games that stick out for me for PS3 early doors, also Resistance, Heavenly Sword, and Motorstorm. And I got
Yes,
Motorstorm as one of my
Motorstorm was
bundle
brilliant.
games. Aye, Motorstorm, like the deformation on the tracks. Again, it didn't look as good as the demo they showed, like before. It wasn't
Yeah,
quite that standard, but Sony were notorious for that. Killzone being the prime example. But again, it was still a really good racing game. The physics were good on it. As I say, the track deformation was really impressive. Weather effects were good. The track design was good. It was just a good racing game. Really impressive. But aye, it's the thing about PS3 that always sticks in my mind is also with the launch model, the word PlayStation 3 in the Spider-Man font was raised. It was like kind of like chrome because later on it was just printed on. But if you just brush that with your hand or like a t-shirt to dust it or something, or even like a non-microfiber cloth, mate, that was a scratch magnet. So you put direct light on it, it looked like you just looked at the thing and it scratched. It was brutal for that. The heat that pumped at the back of that thing was insane. Now, bearing in mind, it was round about kind of it was a wasn't it summertime it came out. It was like kind of it was like winterish. It was cold kind of nights. Then he put the heating on in my room that I had at the old house that I had all my game stuff in at that time. This fucker heated that room up, mate. Playing Motorstorm for a few hours. This thing pumped heat out like nobody's business. But again, it's a big physically imposing machine. They tried, I think, to kind of stay true to the kind of PS2 kind of design, like still very much, the kind of the bulky one side, the kind of slimmer underside. If you stand it up, the font reads one way. When if you lie on it, if you put it horizontally, the logo reads up and down the way, not properly. But the PS logo, you can spin it on a wee axis as well, whatever orientation you want to have it. But it took a long time to kind of really hit its stride. PS3. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4 was a hell of an experience playing that. One of the first games I ever remember having to install as well.
Yeah.
So it was an experience, but brilliant game. Like that, the Shadow Moses level on that when he goes back and has the flashbacks.
Yes, absolutely.
Used to put the young Snake mask on, meant you could get masks. I used to put the young Snake mask on and just play that level because it was like, just see that, give us that now, just see that, give us Metal Gear Solid 1 like that, and whatever system it's on, I will buy it because I love that he's walking by like the helipad and you hear the echoey Colonel, a high D. What's a Russian gunship doing here? It's like the kind of a security camera. It's all these little kind of, but it's echoey because he's having the flashbacks. Wow, such a brilliant game. Really, really enjoyed that. But aye, Last of Us. I never bothered with that. The Uncharted games I did. My wife, she loves Uncharted games even now. Got the Uncharted collection on PS4, and she'll still periodically go through and just play them. She loves them. Loves the movie as well, to be fair. But aye, she's a big fan of the Uncharted games. But I say, PS3 was a slow burner. Came to life at the end. Caught up with 360 because of RROD. I think had Microsoft not had RROD, I don't think Sony recover that generation at all. I think Xbox 360 just goes from strength to strength. But I think there's a lot of people still did, as much as we said like the exclusives and the online play were enough for us to not abandon it. I think it did put a lot of people off. I think it lost a lot of sales because of that. Probably that kind of hype around the failure rate and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
if not for that, I think PS3 gets absolutely buried. But fair play to it, it came back. You know, it came back with some brilliant games.
Yeah, I think I think because Mecha Fat Nick is in the Discord. He's done a few things, and one thing that he wrote up before, which really stuck with me, was he basically analyzes the PS3 and basically calls it Sony's Sega Saturn because obviously it struggled with third party releases, and obviously it kind of lost all that goodwill that the PS2 brought up. I mean, there was a point where the 360 was outselling it 8-1. It was absolutely hammering it. And I think, yeah, if Xbox didn't have the ROD and stayed the course, I think they would have, because obviously, unlike Sega, Sony had unlimited money to just kind of funnel into the PS3, keep giving it games, and ultimately, kind of Microsoft tripped over themselves, and PS3 was able to kind of make a recovery. But yeah, I think the ROD was one factor, but I think the biggest factor, because it all turned around in 2010, as I said, was Connect. And I think that probably is a nice segue into obviously motion controls, which brings us neatly onto the Wii and the DS. Now I love the DS. I got mine in like 2004, for the sole reason that I wanted to play Mario Kart. Not even the new one, not even DS. I wanted to play Mario Kart Super Circuit, and I was sick of the GBA with its dark screen. It was like, oh, these are out. These aren't that expensive. It plays GBA carts. The screen's backlit. I'll buy one of these, and kind of just fell in love with it, you know. And again, I think with the Nintendo consoles, it's ironic because that's where I played a lot of Sega games. Because I was playing, I got like Sonic Rush. On the GBA, I was getting like Gunstar, is it Superheroes and Guardian of Heroes Advance and that sort of stuff. And then on
Yes,
the GBA, it was there's a bunch of Sega games that I got for those. God, they're not coming to my head at the moment. They're on the shelf back there. Um, and then for the Wii, I was getting stuff like Ghost Squad, Mario Sonic at the Olympics, Sonic and the Secret Rings. Um, and yeah, I got a lot of Sega games on there. I actually got my Wii because, as you were saying earlier, the Wii's were like they were super rare, weren't they?
oh,
Like
I
it
like
sounds
gold dust,
bonkers
mate.
now. You can go onto Facebook Marketplace and find one for like 20 quid. Um, but back then they were going for silly money. I remember like it'd been out for like a year, maybe 2 years, and there was still like kind of a queue. There was still kind of those stock checker websites to see where you could get one. Um, but yeah, I mean, I thought the Wii was interesting enough because it was different. It gave you something alternative to the Xbox 360 and PS3. You know, the motion controls, the Wii Sports with the tennis and stuff. You know, anyone could pick them up and play it. Um, it does get a kind of a bad rep purely because it's kind of because, as I say, they were talking about Pro Evo on the In-Betweeners,
Mm.
and it's going. I think Jay's going. Well, why have you got a Wii? That's for old ladies and babies. We need to go back tomorrow and play Pro Evo. But that's kind of how people view the Wii. And yeah, in terms of the library, it's kind of shovelware mostly, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get a lot of like fairground games and all sorts of
No.
crap, Rayman Rabbids and all that sort of crap. But there were some good ones on there. I did like the Mario Galaxy games. Um, Resident Evil 4 that came to the Wii. That's a really good version where the pointer actually works really well. And yeah, as I say, Ghost Squad is brilliant on there. And there's a few really good games like Tatsunoko versus Capcom. Is fantastic. It's a Wii exclusive, but it just wasn't enough in there to really make it kind of a rival for the 360. I mean, it's the highest selling console of that generation, but I don't think anyone remembers it quite as fondly as the other two, do they?
No. I did a Zelda game for it, and I remember one of the mechanics was that you would hold the target on sort of, I think you had to like shoot an arrow into something to open a drawbridge or something. And I remember using the controls. I think you locked on with one and then you
Yeah.
pulled back as if you were drawing the arrow.
That's it.
And I was
Yeah.
like, I mean, this is gimmicky shite. It's like, nah. It's like, so as I say, mate, I literally just, when I seen how much you were getting for them, I was like, PS3's coming. And at that point, obviously, I'm now moved in with my then girlfriend, now wife. So the
Mm.
disposable income isn't quite what it was, you
Yeah.
know, from 2000 to 2005. So it was like, well, I think it was like, given the price of PS3 as well, it certainly took a chunk off of
Yeah.
the outlay for PS3. And again, PS3 was more, again, that plus a 360 side by side, that you were set up. That had everything that I needed at that time anyway.
Mm.
But no, just like you could rattle off Wii games, mate, and I'd just sit here and go, I've nothing, mate. I've nothing past having one for the first few weeks. It was basically sacrificed very quickly. I was like, and that thing that Jay said in between us about, old ladies and kids, man. I just
Yeah.
that was my thoughts back. I was like, this is
Yeah.
not for me. So as I say, I think my wife got it if it was Game Station in Hamilton had one in stock. She managed to get it. That's what she got it for. Most she went to pick it up. I says, and I said, this isn't for me. I says, like, do you mind if I just use it towards a PS3? So
Yeah.
there we
Yeah,
go,
I
mate.
was just taking a look at the shelf there to see which ones stood out. I mean, the House of the Dead games are really good on it. Obviously, 1, 2, and 3 Revenge Return is the original games. You can play them. Play the second one on the Dreamcast, but Overkill is really good. There's stuff that's worthwhile on there. Was one that jumped out to me just now. Mad World, which is a Platinum Games game, which is the graphical style looks like Gears of War, but kind of black and white shaded. But
Mm.
there's some good stuff on there, but just kind of not enough to really. I was happy with that and the 360, and then it was good for me. It felt like the PS3 was the one that felt superfluous for quite a bit until the library really started ramping up. But it's funny because I was saying about the kids playing Kinect. They were playing the Wii as well the other day, so it's just like, but I say they're kids. One of them's 18, but
Oh, other end of the spectrum to me, mate.
yeah. And then of course, we've talked about the DS, and that was the other thing. Did you get a DS?
I did get one from Game in Buchanan Street. Again, was it a version of Mario 64 that it came with?
There was, yeah, it's awful.
Aye, aye. Remember, again, it was just something I didn't get it when it was like brand new, cutting edge. Like again, I think I must have seen it sitting reduced and just grabbed it. It wouldn't have been overly expensive at the time, but I remember getting that and like I'd imported a PSP like whenever that came out in Japan years before. So that was
And what a
like,
little console that was, though.
oh mate, what a machine!
That is a fan. That yeah, I mean, I personally probably do prefer the games on the DS because I played so many of them. I was playing like the Final Fantasy remakes. I was playing all sorts on it, but the PSP was just yeah. That was the first, other than the kind of the Game Gear, that was like the first time since the Game Gear actually felt like you had kind of a current console in your
Aye,
hand.
it felt so high end. Like the way it was built, it had weight. It felt premium. Like the finish on it as well. Everything about
Yeah,
it.
the
The
finish
screen.
was really nice.
Oh mate, the launch model again, like PS3. If you didn't use a microfiber cloth to move dust off it, that it had like a kind of like a sort of few millimeters thick, kind of like glossy plastic sheen over it. Like the later models that came out, they never had that. But the launch model's got this lovely, like kind of almost clear coat of plastic on it that just gives it a sheen. And again, if you get it in direct sunlight or overhead harsh lights, you start to see those little micro scratches on it. Under normal room conditions and lighting, it was fine, but mate, but still, just what a system.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to see if I can grab my one. I was seeing if I could reach it, but I couldn't get it without taking off my headphones. So they're going back on again now. But yeah,
Oh, it's, there you
it's
go.
a it's a lovely little machine, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Um,
honestly like UMDs felt like, oh, it's like mini disc but games
yeah,
on them and movies. It was like unreal. And again, it felt like having a PS2 in your hand. Like it didn't feel compromised. Like my copy I got for Charlie's came with Ridge Racers, and Again,
Oh, Ridge Racers.
I've told
Oh,
the
it's
story.
so good.
It's about just being a pure dick and like purposefully like go because I remember the PSP came with a kind of little velvety kind of padded like carry case, like a holder. It was like a sleeve you would slide it into. That's what it came with. The Japanese one did anyway. I just remember anti game, the same game I got the DS from, and I purposefully just pulled it out and started playing Ridge Racers in the middle of the shop, knowing I was being a dick, like just basically showing off, mate. Just again, arsehole. But within minutes, like there was people walking by, oh, this is PSP. This guy's got a PSP, and like people started gathering. It got to the point where staff. Well, I must have had a crowd about maybe 15, 20 people around me just watching me playing Ridge Racers.
Mm.
Like that. But I paid my money to import it, mate. I'm showing it off. It's like but it was so good. Like Lumines as well. I fucking loved that game on PSP. What a brilliant version that was as
Yeah.
well. But and Need for Speed Underground was another one I played on PSP. It
Yeah.
was that's was it is that when I first heard Decadence by Disturbed? Was it? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was Killing Jokes, the Death and Resurrection Show. That was a song that I heard on Need for Speed Underground on PSP, and that led me, I ended up listening to them because of that. What tune that is? Dun, 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 mark out the points. Dun, 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 dun. What's that tune, man? Honestly, just
And of
anybody
course,
who's not listened to that,
you could watch
download
films
it.
on there as well.
That's right, mate. Aye,
Yeah,
your
I've got my copy of
movies.
Transformers the movie on UMD on the shelf there.
That's it. Now your memory card pros as well. You could put media on your memory card as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was it Magic Gate technology or something, wasn't it?
Yes, that's what it said.
Remember? Was only a certain type of memory SD card or memory card you could put in it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work with other ones, but oh man, that felt so ahead of its time. Like just like how you get all this power and this really sleek, futuristic, premium feeling handheld. It was just like, but the Game Gear was the precursor.
Yeah.
You could watch media on the go. You could watch the World Cup final in 1994 on a Game Gear, mate. I did it.
Well, it's crazy because you think
I
of
mean,
you look at the Game Gear and it came out in 1990 when the Master System was still being sold in the West, still being sold in America, and 91 it was still being sold in Europe. So it was kind of in line with technology of the era. But then after the Game Gear, you had what 98 you got the Game Boy Color, which was basically still an 8-bit machine that was less powerful than the Game Gear. You had the Wonder Swan come after that. You had the Neo Geo Pocket Color, and they weren't as powerful as the they weren't that powerful. When you've still got, this is in the era when you got the Dreamcast, you've got those consoles going around. You've got the Game Boy Advance, which phenomenal console, love the Game Boy Advance, but that was pure 16-bit, you know. But again, in the era where you've got the GameCube, the Xbox, and the PS2 going around, and then you got the DS, which a bump up then, but kind of N64 era when in the era where you got the 360 and the PS3. But it's not since obviously the Game Gear was kind of concurrent with 8-bit systems that were still being sold at the time, and the PSP was the only one since then that felt concurrent with consoles at that time.
yep.
It kind of felt like halfway between the PS2 and PS3 because I've got loads of games that are like ports of PS3 games. I've got SmackDown versus Raw 2008 on there and stuff like that because it was getting games like that, like full blown
Mate,
console games.
how good is Tekken Dark Resurrection on
Oh
PSP?
god, it's phenomenal on that. Yeah,
Unbelievable. That's a proper like that's. I still look at that and think how it's a
yeah,
full premium console version on the go.
mate.
Unbelievable.
Outrun 2 Coast to Coast on the PSP.
Yeah,
That is obscene that they managed to
yeah.
get that on there,
I,
and it's
I
an
know.
amazing version as well.
I know if people on the kind of Discord doing like some people did play the PSP version for the challenge we did. And they said that they felt that the analog stick was a bit small and things like that, which I can. Well, the analog nub, it's not really a stick, it's a slider. But
Yes,
I
I
can
used
get.
I used the D-pad on Outrun too.
Uh,
I must admit.
but aye, yeah, that's essentially a Chihiro game.
Yeah,
running on a PSP and a handheld. So unbelievable. And
yeah.
you're getting that quality of game on a handheld system. Just mental.
Oh
Ah,
God,
honestly.
what a decade, mate. But you know, the thing that sticks with me is, was that the last great gaming decade? Because you get to 2010s, and we talked about the 90s when we were kind of planning episodes, and we were saying, well, which way do we go back? Obviously, the 80s was kind of when we first got into games, and then the 2000s was kind of us being adults, and that's why we went in this direction. Because I think what's been hopefully apparent to everyone that's watching and listening is that's how fondly we remember all of these systems, and all these games, and how close this era was to our heart. Because this kind of felt like the second childhood for me, mate. Probably
Mm.
yourself as well.
Aye.
But
It was a chance to basically the reins were taken off. Like you got into this hobby like as a kid, and then through your kind of teens, and then all of a sudden you had this income, and nobody could tell you how to spend it. You paid a small amount of your salary to your parents for digs, and the
yeah.
rest was yours. And whenever you had this hobby that you had just got into and were so in love with, that all of a sudden you were able to just go out and buy whatever you want. Like, and it came at a time where, again, we spoke about the kind of breakneck pace that Sega moved at through the 80s and the 90s, but the industry as a whole at the turn of the millennium was just crazy. Like going from OG Xbox and PS2 into PS3 and 360, then you'd obviously the Wii coming in there as well. But it's just, it was unbelievable just to be able to pick up these experiences and these games and these systems just when we wanted. Like we could wait for sales, and we could make impulse buys on like a 29.99 black GameCube or a 50
Yeah.
quid silver GameCube, or dip into PS2 a bit later on or PS3 a bit later on. It was just unbelievable that just being able to go out and just buy these games. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
different to now, obviously, we having families and things like that, responsibilities. That's why we have Sendico, mate. It's, it's
But
to lighten
even
the load.
yeah, but even because I do feel like things changed a lot in 2011 post Connect, and then you got the Xbox One reveal. PS4 was probably the last truly great games console, I think.
Mm,
Switch is very good. Obviously not dedicated, obviously not top end. But yeah, but I feel like, I know you weren't a fan of the Wii, but I felt like all three offered something different, and all three were
mm.
kind of firing on all cylinders during the 2010s. Whereas last couple of decades, or last decade or so, Xbox has kind of just been scrambling around, just trying to find its identity to survive. Sony are quite content to gouge their customers, and Nintendo pretty much the same.
It's sad. Whenever you can hear like even the enthusiasm that we're telling these stories with, you can tell that there's memories and stories all attached to these systems and these games. Like it was a special time. But if you ask me to talk about gaming for the last, even like this current generation that we're about to leave soon, like there's a handful of games. Like probably the best experience for me, where I'm going to go is probably going to be RoboCop Rogue City. You know what I mean? I couldn't sit for 2 hours and talk about the Xbox Series generation or PS5. I've never owned a PS5. I never will. There's just nothing on it that makes me want to go out and spend that kind of money on. When I was in Smith's toy superstore yesterday, getting some stuff for my youngest daughter's birthday, and upstairs to do a click and collect, and they had a wall of Xboxes and PS5s, and mate, the price of the bundles was eye watering. I was like, Jesus, like the hobby's becoming inaccessible. I think
Yeah.
you're 5 years into this generation and prices are going up. I know there's RAM shortages and that cost, but even before that, Xbox were and Sony were bumping their prices up. It's like these are machines that are about to be replaced, and you're putting the prices up. That's not how it always worked. So, nah,
I will
special
say
time,
though,
mate.
I will say that if anyone does want to buy a console and doesn't have anything post 2000, which is unlikely, but I was going on to CEX and I was like, how much? And I was like, all right, Xbox 360, I think you can get for 40 quid, and you can get Gears of War for like 50p. Call of Duty 4 for a quid, Halo 3 for 50p. You can get all these games for like pennies. You could build up like the hobby's becoming accessible if you want to play the latest and greatest. But yeah, and obviously the retro side of the hobby is overpriced as well, as we both know.
Yep.
But there's a sweet spot with this generation in the 2010s, and I'm sure when they start hitting their 30s, the kids that grew up with this and they've got disposable income, I'm sure this will start going up and they start collecting. But for now, it's really the games are really cheap. Like Wii's are 25 quid. The games are like pennies. Yeah, but yeah, one of the greatest generations, mate. Absolutely. But we knew that this one would be a great chat. We knew that it was going to be a nice trip down memory lane for kind of one of our favorite. And it was from a gaming perspective, it was brilliant. Just from a media, it felt like a last hurrah. It felt like the things were still clinging on to the spirit of the 90s. Someone was sharing that Alien Ant Farm Smooth Criminal was something like 20 years old or 15 years old or something the other day. And I hate covers for songs, but that one I always loved.
Oh,
It's
mate,
just something very much of the era for that.
Aye, it is, but I can't stand it. That's the Michael Jackson fan in me. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
This is my wife listens to some acoustic cover of Man in the Mirror in the car, and it just annoys me. It's like
I hate the acoustic covers. It's just like it's like the same old shit. It's just like you take any other song and just make it some weepy voiced acoustic
that's
bollocks.
it. The same playlist. She's got a acoustic cover of Some Might Say, and I'm like, it just doesn't. What is this, man? Just like Man in the Mirror is just like such a powerful song by Michael Jackson, like the vocals, and then there's this guys you say this like, I'm starting with the man. It's like, mate,
Yeah,
get some energy in there, man. Come on,
yeah, it's awful.
get
But
some Michael in there. Come on, get some,
some
get
energy.
some.
We did have some good bands though, mate. As you're saying, the kind of Disturbed were very prominent, in the 2000s. Linkin Park doing the sound, doing the credit songs for all the Transformers films as well.
That's it, mate. That's what they're known for now, for a certain generation, you know. Also, Limp Bizkit in
Yes.
their peak as well. Seen them live at the SECC in their heyday, the chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavoured water. Keep on rolling. Oh, what a time, mate. What a time.
A great decade. So, listeners, viewers, love to hear what you think. What are your memories of the 2000s before we got into the 2010s? Is it one of the greatest eras for gaming? What was your platforms of choice? What were your favorite games from the era? Let us know in the comments below or on the Sega Guys Discord. If you've enjoyed this on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe because that really helps the channel. And if you want to be extra mega, think about becoming a member, which you can do from as little as 99p with a bunch of awesome perks, such as getting your name read out as a special thanks, as James is about to do right now.
Certainly, our Akira All Access members for today's show. We have G-Man, Steph Peak, I Am Mikowski, Craig Williamson, Resident SD, P-Wall, Peter 007, Nick Tullock 1882, Greg Matthews, Tom Thumb, Kaiju Leviathan, David Owens, Drickas 0, Pablo Plays 98, Sancho 0813, Silver Spear 21, Schnaplur, and we have Luke Thorpe 2153. So thank you very much to all our members and subscribers for your continued support. 18,000 subs is just around the corner. Well on target to hit 20k by the end of the year. So thank you very much for all your continued support of the channel.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for spending your time with us, listening to a pair of old bastards talk about stuff that happened nearly 20 years ago. As always, join us next time for some more Sega chat, because we will see you on the Sega side.
Sega!
No, you're gonna dig this.